Were the final years of Queen Elizabeth II's life a disaster, most painful caused by Harry? Hello and a very warm welcome to our Celebrity Tribute YouTube channel. The truth is, the late Queen had so much on her plate in her final years. She had to deal with losing her beloved husband Philip as he grew very sick towards the end. Elizabeth had to deal with this during the loneliness of a global pandemic. But still, she faced her widowhood like she faced everything else, with grace and dignity. Now, at the time, we didn't realize it, but the late Queen was already having to endure her own final illness that would end up claiming her life, and she knew that. I mean, these things alone would be too much for most of us to endure, but the Queen still worked so hard every day, except for, of course, on Christmas and Easter. Only 2 days before she passed away, the late Queen met with the new Prime Minister of the UK. That really shows what her work ethic and her willingness to see the job through were like. She did her job until the very end, and it was so humbling to see. And to hear that Harry's behavior and Harry's words hurt her deeply only brings sadness and pain to those of us who admired the late Queen. All her many years of service, her work that she did with the Commonwealth, and her devotion to the people of the UK meant so much to people all around the world. Her funeral brought leaders together from all around the world in a way that probably nothing else could. It's been reported that the late Queen did feel hurt, and she felt upset that her grandson did what he did. Now, Meghan was really awful to the late Queen, but we would expect that from her. I think what really cut the deepest was that her well-loved grandson could say so many lies, could deliberately cause pain while Prince Philip had only a few weeks left on Earth, and he also declined to go visit her when she was still living. That is what is really horrible in all of this. Harry did hurt his grandmother, and if she were still living today, I think she would feel even worse after reading his idiotic book, which is a fantasy book, let's get real, with some nasty reality thrown in there. And then those bizarre interviews where Harry lied about the lies that he said previously. And it looks like the Sussex Sugars simply don't know what to make of Harry's claims. If the Queen were still alive to see all of this, I think the pain would be unbearable having to watch her grandson do so many awful things to the family. Harry is a cruel person, he's mean, and I'm sure he was not raised that way. He didn't even care if he hurt his allegedly beloved grandmother. It has been reported far and wide that Harry's problems caused Queen Elizabeth to pass away earlier than any doctor suspected that she would. And I hope that he understands what he did someday. I hope he understands how much hurt he caused to a wonderful woman who's going to be remembered for all of the amazing things she did for people all around the world. But Harry, oh no, he's going to be remembered as the imbecile who had the world handed to him on a silver platter and squandered it all. If we're to judge Harry by his actions, the only conclusion that we can come to is that he's evil. And Meghan Markle is even worse. She wants to bring down the monarchy because she was dumb and she couldn't learn how it works. Meghan never was a Hollywood actress, and she believed that everybody would see her as some kind of flashy, glamorous film star, which in fact she's not. See, Meghan was faced with real class and elegance in the other royal ladies, and she knew she could never measure up. I think her jealousy of her sister-in-law Catherine is all-consuming, and she's always going to be bothered by the fact that she couldn't steal William away from Catherine. So since she failed in that mission, now she and Harry are just going to peddle lies like a couple of spoiled brats. Now, if William had shown any interest whatsoever in Meghan Markle, you know she would have dropped Harry like a hot potato. Now, I understand why she found William attractive. I think most women do. He's a gorgeous man. But he's a wonderful man, too. He's kind-hearted. I think he's a lot like his grandmother. And William and Catherine are deeply in love. I don't think anybody can compete with that. And they are raising such well-rounded children. This is obvious. But that snake Meghan doesn't understand what a healthy relationship looks like, so she still thinks that she can get William. She disregards the cameras, and you know what? She's ignored by both. Meghan's just too dim-witted to understand that everybody recognizes her for exactly what she is, a crass nobody who believes that she was more important than the constitutional monarch, and that somehow she could change the monarchy into Hollywood. See, Meghan never accepted her place in the hierarchy, so she was just going to go off waving to the cameras with that Cheshire Cat grin plastered on her face ahead of William and Catherine because she wanted some attention. It just makes me cringe to think about that. I am never going to forgive either of them for all the insults, the distress, and the pain they caused Her late Majesty and consort. Now, Harry has some mental health problems, but still, he should live every day with the knowledge that he and Meghan are elder abusers. Not only as it concerned Her Majesty the Queen, but also the late Prince Philip and King Charles, too. I'm not shocked at the horrible behavior of Meghan after the way that she treats her own father. Now, Harry deserves to have to dwell on his behavior every single day for the rest of his life. He's deceitful, he's a liar, and he's an imbecile. Harry turned his back on his family, and he bit the hand that fed him. He's a man, baby. He's not very smart, and he has put a target right on his back. It sounds like the Taliban are now watching him, and he has caused so much pain to his dying grandmother. Even his mother would be so disappointed in him, and she was nothing compared to Meghan. See, Diana was a lovely woman, and she would never have disrespected the late Queen. Now, of course, she was upset with her ex-husband Charles, but still, she never told lies, and she never said bad things about people. You know, now that I think about it, Meghan has done pretty well for herself. She set her sights on snagging Her Majesty the late Queen's grandson, she got her name in the headlines, and she continues to find ways to maintain that. Meghan, before she met Harry, was just a mediocre actor in Canada. So Meghan and Harry made a documentary about how horrible their lives were when they were working royals in the UK. They negotiated with the paymasters at Netflix for a $1 million figure. They expected that they could make money off the backs of the royal family, and since the late Queen would not allow Meghan and Harry to cheapen or profit from the royal family name, they decided they would just make a documentary about their pitiful recollection with the hope that they could get an Oscar for their performances. Now, Meghan was never a very good actor, so why in the world would she believe that she would be considered? And now Harry's book Spare has come out. Well, if you like trashy fairy tales, do we have a book for you? If you have to read their fictional fantasy, at the very least, please don't buy it. Pick up a copy at the library, it's probably available. I mean, maybe Meghan and Harry believe that they're like Danielle Steele. Now, she does write romance novels, although I've got to admit they are a little bit trashy. The only thing I can see is a really unhappy future for the two of them. They are going to continue to sink even lower, and they're going to become non-entities as the world around them moves on. So their sugars blindly follow Meghan and her idiotic lapdog who's too dumb to figure out the damage that he has caused because of his jealousy towards his older brother and his amazing wife Catherine too. Meghan Markle is gutter trash. Honestly, I can understand why she's so envious of Catherine. Just look at her weird boxy body compared to Catherine's body. Catherine has the body of a model. And she keeps on launching bombs and stirring the pot. She keeps on trying to trick Harry into throwing more grenades as well. Does anybody really think that Meghan did not write that book for Harry? I mean, come on. It's pitiful that some people are so dumb that they believe the two of them. And sometimes, difficult though it may be, there's probably some truth amongst all the exaggeration in Harry's book. I believe that Harry really never has recovered from his mother's passing, and he probably never got good grief counseling to help him in coping with the loss of his mother, which, okay, I've got to admit, is very sad. For Harry to have to deal with his mother's passing and deal with his father's adultery with Camilla over the years is a little bit much for a child. But he's not a child anymore. Harry is a grown man. It's time for him to move on. See, King Charles and Queen Camilla, they're going to have a lot to answer for come Judgment Day. I don't know much about the inner workings of the royal family, so maybe all of us should just leave them alone. They are public figures, but they're still human. They have their demons just like all of us do. And who are we to judge?